Okay, so what we're going to be going over today is the ladder. I call it the ladder. There's several different names for it. Some people call it the DOM, the DOM, which just stands for depth of market. Some people call it the ladder. Some people call it level 3, which is really not level 3, but I do like it much better than level 2. I'll give you a little bit of differences of what I think it has versus just watching level 2. And also, I think most everybody that's here has been in here before, but if not, just to reiterate, if you have any questions during the session here, just type them in to the questions during session channel, which is just the channel just above the one we're in now. And if you have a question directed at me, if you can just at Doc so that it shows up in that gold color, and I'll know that it's, not y'all aren't just chatting or whichever, which is totally cool. That way I can make sure and recognize it and get your questions answered. Oh man, that stinks. Yeah, I had a bunch of honeydews yesterday that I did, Skipper, so I didn't have to do much today. But yesterday, my only day off, I had to do a bunch of honeydews, but that's fine. Okay, so depth of market, the ladder. Basically, it's what it is it's this thing right here. I don't know if all platforms have it. Obviously, Thinkorswim has it. You turn it on right here. You show sidebar and cells, right? And then over here, you can turn time and cells on and off. You can turn active trader on and off. Whatever. So anyway, that's how you turn it on. And then you can have multiple charts here too. So let's say if you had a 3-chart window here, you could have one stock on a chart here with a ladder right next to it. So you can trade on that particular stock off that ladder. Then you can have your second chart next to it with another ladder, so you can trade on. So basically, you can trade multiple stocks on one screen using different ladders. Chart. You're watching the chart and you're watching the ladder. And some people will trade just off of the ladder. A lot of these different things, these topics that we're going over in these first, few sessions of this channel, starting with volume and support and resistance. Some people are using some of these things, that's it. That's all they use to trade. Some people just trade off volume and price action. Some people just trade off of the ladder action, right? So I don't do that. I like to use a lot of different indications to, as I've said before, to, give me the, it's shaking the head. Yeah, Doc, this looks like a pretty good trade to take here. But basically what the ladder is versus level 2 is let me just pull up level 2 real quick so that I can show you guys kind of the difference. So level 2 is going to break all of the different bids up into the exchanges, right? So it's going to show that NASDAQ's got, 800 shares here. ARCA's got 100 shares here at this 2760 level, right? Well, it's going to add all of that stuff into the same on the ladder, okay? So that it basically just jumbles them all together so you don't have to add them up in your head. And I do have level 2 up on my main trading screen, but really the only reason I do is because I have news up as well. And when you have news up, it's going to take that part of the screen anyway. So if I turn level 2 off, it's going to suck up the bottom of the ladder anyway. So I might as well just have it on there as a reference, But for this, we're going to just use as much screen as we can. So I'm going to turn all that stuff off. But anyway, so the ladder gives you more information. It's going to tell you what the current market price is. And market's closed right now, but wherever the market price is, it'll be highlighted with a little gray cell around it, so you'll know what the market price is. So you know what the market price is. You have all of your bids and your asks all put together, so instantly you can look and see whether we're buy heavy or we're sell heavy, right? So the ladder, it shows intent, right? So it shows buyers' intentions. Where are they intending to buy? So here, looking at this, I have this pause. I pulled up an on demand so that we can actually see some, live action here on the ladder and on the price and sales or time and sales. So it shows intent. The thing to keep in mind with the ladder is that some people are not adding liquidity to the trade, to the stock. They're not going and putting their bid at 27.60. Everybody's not doing that, or putting their bid at 27.58, or putting a bid up here. Sometimes they're just, whenever it's here, boom, if there's shares for sale here and they see this, or shares for sale here at 27.65, they're just, clicking right there and just buying. So those are going to be hidden from the ladder. A lot of traders are doing that. I do that a lot. Sometimes I'll hit join the bid, sure, and then I'm adding liquidity to the stock. But sometimes if I want to get in right now and I don't want to join the bid, then I will just go ahead and click right here. And nobody knew that was coming, right? So there was no intent shown prior to. So you have to keep that in mind. Not everything that's going to take place is going to show on the ladder. But it can give you a pretty good indication as to what you should expect the stock price to do. And because of that, because of these, I guess, kind of hidden intentions on the ladder, that's why your price and sale, your time in sales is key, because you can't hide anything there. Once I click here, it's going to show up on the time and sales. So it's very important that you couple your ladder with the time and sales, because nothing can be hidden here on the time and sales. Everything that comes through, you're going to see on this time and sales. And some people will take this time and sales and they will actually, let's say, hey, I don't want to look at when 2 shares are bought, or when 10 shares or 90 shares are bought. I want to see when the big shares are bought, right? So you go here and you click on this size, and you can say, hey, I only want to see shares that are greater than or equal to 200 or 500 or 1,000, whatever. Or you can custom, you can give it a custom number. I like to see them all, so, and I can read it pretty fast. But until you're used to it, if you only want to see the bigger ones, then yeah, put 500 or 1,000 or whatever, because obviously the big ones are the ones that matter. Just keep this in mind. Whenever you see somebody, let's say that 100 shares get bought here, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to see a 100 right there, okay? Because that can be done in several different transactions, right? So, maybe 20 got sold by somebody, and 19 got sold by somebody else, and 13 by, so it can be in numerous different. So what may look like, hey, why would somebody buy 2 shares? Well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe it got filled that way off of a larger order. So keep that in mind. So also the ladder is going to basically show your demand and your supply and demand, right? So we know that that's what moves stock price is when there's a lot more demand than supply, then the price is going to go up, right? Well, you can see that right here. You can see whether there's more demand than supply. And just the opposite is true. When there's more supply than demand, you have a lot bigger numbers on this side than you do on this side of the ladder, then you can expect to see that the price would probably go down, right? It doesn't always work out that way, but that's what you can expect to see. And if you're using that as a separate indication along with other indications, if they're all agreeing, then that's where you can start putting things together and look to see, hey, is this looking good, right? Okay, so somebody said the other day, well, hey doc, I love using the ladder, but sometimes what happens is it gets out of my range where I can't see it, right? So you might, maybe the bid is here, but your first sell is until way up here, so it's off of your ladder, so you can't see it. Well, there are a couple different things that you can do. You can make your ladder taller if you have more room on your screen, or there's a little zoom button here. See this plus and minus right here? So you can zoom out. You zoom out, and all that's doing is it's changing your increments. Basically, before we had a 1 penny increment, so now we have a 5 penny increment. So you can zoom back out and then zoom back in. And when you move your ladder up, it'll stay wherever you want it to stay, or at least it does on Thinkorswim, until you move your mouse cursor off of the ladder. So you put it, here in this dead space or here or wherever, and then mine is set to go at 3 seconds, and I'll show you where you do that. So you go to Setup, you go to Application Settings, you go to Active Trader, and Auto Center, Active Trader, Price Ladder every 3 seconds. You can change that to whatever you want, right? So basically when I'm finished jacking around whatever I'm doing here and I get off of it, it's going to auto center. Right now it's not auto centering because it's paused. So, because this being a Sunday, market's not open, so this thing's not moving. So I went to an on demand so we can just watch a stock that moved the other day. So, but you can auto center it by this button right here. So you click that, center, boom. It takes you right back to where the action is. Okay. So keep those things in mind there, and that's how you would look at a stock that is off of your basically your field of view by just zooming out, and then you can just zoom right back in. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some manipulation that we can see on the ladder, because when we're talking about the ladder, we want to make sure that what we're seeing is real, right? We want to make sure that that there's no spoofing going on. I'll go over what spoofing is. So hedge funds, they manipulate for sure. Their orders can be hidden. They can go through different routes of orders where they don't ever show up. Even though they're there as a bid, they don't show up. And only other market makers and hedge funds and whatever, only they can see it. So keep that in mind. And one more thing, again, nothing can be hidden on the time and sells though. So if you don't see anything here, like if all you see right here is 800 shares looking to be bought at 27.60, and then you see here on the time and sales that 4,000 shares got bought at 27.60, well, there you go. So it could have been a couple things that happened. It could have been, hey, somebody just clicked in here, and maybe those shares got bought up real quick and then theirs got bought up. But that's unlikely. More than likely, that's, because these have to get, it's first come, first serve. So these have to get filled first before, once you go in there and put a bid, before you're going to get filled. So more than likely that was, kind of some hidden bids there. And you can also have hidden asks, hidden sales in there as well. So that's where your time and sales comes into play. Nothing can be hidden there. If something gets bought or sold, it's going to show up right there. And it's real time, instantaneously. So, and we talked about orders being able to be instantly bought, that, they weren't added to liquidity. Somebody once said, hey, I see 100 shares for sale right here, 27.65. I don't want to put my order here. Maybe I'm thinking this thing's getting ready to blow up for some reason. Maybe I caught some news on it that nobody knows about yet. So instead of putting my bid here at 27.60, I'm just going to buy wherever the first sell is. So I can buy 100 shares right there, boom. And that way, nothing ever showed up on the ladder, but it's going to show up on your time and sales. So what can also happen is algorithms, right? They can use certain routes that will basically kind of hide their bids and asks also. So when hedgies manipulate the ladder, and we saw this big time with GameStop, right? I don't know if any of you guys ever checked that out, kind of what happened with GameStop when they were the hedge funds were manipulating that. So basically what they're doing is they're putting fake pressure on the stock itself. So they'll put like some large buy. So let's say that for whatever reason, let's say 27.61 is our market price, right? And somebody's looking to buy some shares here at 27.60. Well, these hedge funds, they'll come down here to 27.25 or whatever, somewhere way down here, and they'll put like a large buy order in down here. Or maybe it doesn't even have to be a large buy order. Maybe it's just a medium or small buy order, right? And then maybe when that gets bought up, if it does, then they'll lower that even more, right? And then they can also trade shares back and forth with other hedge funds. So keep that in mind. There is manipulation that goes on, but you can spot it. If you start seeing that it's doing that for no reason, then you might want to question, what's going on. And algorithms are going to pick up on that too. Algorithms are designed to look at, hey, man, there's a lot of people down here that think that this stock price should be, it's only worth 27.40. So what does the algorithm do? It takes its bids off of here and puts them down there at 27.40, right? And then what do us day traders do? Oh man, our stock's tanking, right? The price is going down, down, down. So they can end up driving that price down. Now they've entered a short position up here, of course. they're driving that price down to whatever it is. Let's say they want to drive it down to $25 before they start loading back up. So they'll play with with the ladder and those bids and asks, and to drive that price back down where they can do two things. One, they'll cover their short, right? So they made some money there. And then two, now they can buy that stock really about $2.60 cheaper than what it's really worth, right? So now they're entering into a long position, and then the stock will obviously go back up, and then they make money on that side as well. So keep that in mind. It does happen, and you can spot it on the ladder. And the more that you watch the ladder, the more you'll be able to spot stuff like that. So as far as spoofing goes, what is spoofing? So spoofing is, I've talked about this a little bit in the channel, so some of you may already know what it is. But so let's say you have 800 shares here at this 2760. And then you see 2755, you see a number here pop up that says 1,000, right? Some just crazy number, much higher than any of these other numbers that are around here. At 2755, you have like 1,000, right? So it looks like you have 10,000 shares looking to be bought at 2755. So what does that tell all these traders? Oh wow, we've got some good support here, some buy support at 2755. So they start loading up, right? They're going to try and buy at 2756, 757, whatever, or maybe at this 2760, knowing they've got good buy support at 2755, because once those shares, even if it does drop back down here to 2755 and starts filling those guys, well, what's that going to do? It's going to likely drive the price back up, because people are not going to want to wait if they're wanting to get into the stock until all those shares get sold into 2755. They're going to start buying at 56, 57, 58, whatever. But what will happen is when it's a spoof, anytime the number is unusually high, you definitely want to question it. So what will happen is, to basically confirm the spoof, is what'll happen is this stock will start selling down, right? And then as soon as it's going to get to where any of these orders are going to get filled, that 1,000 number will just flat disappear. It'll be gone. And then once the stock starts trading back up a little bit, they'll come right back, right? Same number usually. And sometimes that number will, it'll go from 1,000, then it'll go to 1,500 or 2,500, just crazy numbers. But as soon as it gets back down there, it just disappears. And that can also, they can do that on basically what they're trying to do, they're trying to bait you into buying right in this area, right? Thinking so that you think you have support here when you don't really have any buy support there. And they'll do that same thing on the sell side. They'll create a fake wall, and they're smart about it, and they'll do it at these organic levels, like 2750. So if this was trading like down here at 2741 or 42, and you'll see a 2750 sell order for 1,000 or 1,500 or whatever, 10,000, 15,000 shares. Well, what does that do to us buyers? Man, we get nervous, right? We're like, oh crap, there's a huge wall at 2750. So we either stop buying or we start selling, at that level. And what does that do? When we start selling at that level, then it's going to likely drop the price back down, and boom, they can pick it up cheaper. So it's not fair, it's not cool, but it's part of doing business with what we do. Unfortunately, these hedge funds, they're kind of snakes, and it's just something we have to deal with. So keep an eye out for that. Don't get fooled by it. And the way you don't get fooled by it is you watch the ladder. The more you watch it, the more you're going to learn how to read things. It's just like anything else, like learning how to ride a bicycle. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So even if you're not using it to trade, at least have it up on your screen so you can be watching it all the time, or watching it after hours like I'm doing here. We have this on-demand thing, and I can just sit here and watch it for as long as I want to, with different stocks at different times and whatever else, so that until it kind of becomes second nature, where you can immediately look at it. I'll use the movie The Matrix for an example, because it has a pretty good example. When you're looking at The Matrix, when you first start looking at it, all you see is the code, right? You can't see what's going on. Well, same thing with a ladder. When you first look at it, you're just seeing a bunch of numbers, man. You get green numbers and red numbers, and they're going crazy, flying up and down, and you really just don't have any idea what you're looking at. But after you do it for a period of time, you will get better at it, and it will start making sense. And then you'll get to the point to where at just a quick glance, you can know what's going on the ladder and the time it sells. So, okay, so basically, what we're looking for, and I'm going to hopefully, I didn't go through it much. I just picked a day on this stock where it went up, where I saw that it had a good day, so that we can kind of give an example and see what's happening, because we don't want to look at a stock on a bad day, because we're not typically shorting, we're typically going long. So we want to look at some opportunities that we see based on the ladder and based on the chart, and volume and everything else that we're looking at, all the indications or indicators that you're using to look at some possible trades. And so we're looking for people that are willing to pay a higher price than the market price, or than where the current highest bid is. So let's say this number is 8 right here, and then boom, you see 2 show up on 2761. And then 2's there for maybe a couple of seconds, and then boom, you see 2 show up on 2762, or 1 on 2762. Well, those are bullish signs that you want to be looking for, because all that means is that because this is first come, first served, those people, those traders, are not wanting to buy, or not wanting to wait to get filled here at this 2760. They want their shares right now, right? So they're bumping up above them to basically get filled before they do, right? Or they're getting really bullish and they're go ahead and buying this 2765. Now, are you going to see that on the ladder? You're not. But where you're going to see it is on this time and sales. So even though we have bids at 2760, you're going to start seeing on this time and sales buys green color here at 2765 and 2767. Very bullish. That's what you want to look for. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that are wanting to buy. They're not wanting to wait to get filled here. They're wanting to buy now, right? So that lets us know that the price likely should move up. Now, what can happen is, let's say you're at 2760 and you've got 800 shares looking to be bought here, and then you see somebody pop up here with 200, so they're looking to buy 200 shares at 2764, right? So let's say that those shares get filled. Like a seller says, okay, dude, you want to sell 2764 or you want to buy there? I will sell you 200 shares right there. And then nothing can happen. So it can dump right back down, and then your next transaction is at 2760, and now you're back down to 2760. So keep that in mind. You want to see that those bullish signs on the ladder, but you also want to make sure that they're going to hold. You want to make sure that when this guy here puts 2 here, 1 here, and 2 here, that they hold. They don't just get sold into and then we're right back down to 2760. So make sure that you see that they hold. Okay, and, if they're not holding, then what does that tell us, right? If you have 2 or 3 buyers here, and then it goes down to 2760, that lets us know that the sellers are still strong. They're still in control. They're not ready to give up yet, right? You also want to see if you yourself want to pump up. You say, well, hey, I don't want to wait to get filled to 2760, so I'm going to go in at 2761. Let's say you're going to buy 1,000 shares, right? So whenever you put your 1,000 share bid in here at 2761, it's going to show the number 10. Keep in mind on this ladder, all of these numbers are in reality, there's 2 zeros behind them, okay? So this 8 is really 800 shares to be bought here. So let's say you put in a 10 here, which would be 1,000 shares. And then 10 seconds after you do that, somebody else joins you, right? So now that 10 turns into a 12 or a 15. Very, very nice sign, right? You don't want to be the Lone Ranger up there buying at that higher price. So look for those things as well. Okay, let's get into a little bit. Oh, back on this hedge funds deal. We had confirmation of that prior to this GameStop thing. People weren't really as aware as, or not as many people, they were not very aware of that going on. And Kramer kind of confirmed that for everybody. I don't know if y'all remember him talking about that. He had that kind of interview there where he talked about and kind of bragged a little bit about how they used to do that. They used to manipulate, and he explained exactly how they did it. They would, walk that price down so that they could make money on the short as they're walking it down, and then they would enter long once it got down to that really cheap price, because they knew they were going to make money because it was going to go back up, because at that point the stock was undervalued, right? So he totally confirmed it, and it was kind of cool. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the guy. I think he's a jerk. But it was kind of cool of him to come out and say that, so that all of us retail traders can kind of learn from that and realize that, hey, yeah, there is manipulation going on, and so we need to be aware of that. I think he called it a short ladder attack. I think is what he called it, short ladder attack. Yeah. So, and that term kind of came around right around that time. And these guys, when they're trading these shares back and forth, 9 times out of 10, they're counterfeit shares. They're borrowed shares, right? And they're just doing that just to reduce the stock price. So I wanted just to mention that this manipulation thing is not a myth. A lot of people think, oh, that's not really going on. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But one of the guys that used to do it, he got on live television and confirmed the fact that they were doing it and explained how they were doing it. Okay, so let's start this here, and let's pay attention to the ladder. Hopefully it's big enough for everybody to see. Let me make sure I'm in the right channel here on the questions. We have one question already. Can you show us a ladder of BBIG before breakout earlier this week? Yes, sure. Let me do that after I do this one, since I already have the time set up on this one. But yes, I will be happy to do that. Okay, so I'm going to hit play here. I don't remember. I may fast forward a little bit. But anyway, keep an eye on the ladder and on the time and sales. And I'm going to kind of walk us through this once we get going. This may end up being a little bit slow because it's hard to fast forward. When you fast forward, it only does it like 3-second increments instead of 1 second. But watch the ladder, watch what it's doing, and watch the time and sales, and I'll pause it whenever I see something noteworthy. So this is NEGG. This is on the day that it ran to like $70. Okay. So just going to watch it here for a minute. So let's take a look. All right, this thing's pumping up, right? I just paused it. So this thing's pumping up. It likely hit, even though it's not a lot of shares, right? Traded here, only 1,500 shares. Probably hit scanners simply because of a relative volume increase, right? So right about this time, we might have alerted it in the channel. We might have said, hey, keep an eye on NEGG. It's getting volume. It ran the day before. I think it even ran in pre-market this day. So we probably would have been, had it on our watch list anyway, because I believe the day before this it ran to like $29 or something like that. So we probably had our eye on it. So let's say that volume just came in, and we're in a situation here where we can't really see. All we see is our first bid down here is 27.58. Let's see if we have any more bids up here. We don't have any sales yet. So we have our first sale at 28.39. So this might be one of those opportunities where, or might be one of those situations where you might want to zoom out so you can see what's going on, right? So let's zoom out a little bit. So now we can see a little bit more what's going on with the ladder, right? So our best support right now is at 26.10. So for me, looking at this ladder, I'm not totally bullish on it yet, right? Because we don't have a lot of buy support here. So we're trading at 28.39, right? And we don't have any buys at 28.39 up there. We have people looking to sell at 28.35, but now we don't have anybody looking to push that price up any further, right? So really the only major support we have, buy support, is at this 26.10 level. Well, that's $2 and something downhill. So looking at the ladder, I'm not super excited yet. I do like the volume, right? And as we look over here, let's look at our time and sales, and let's see if this can change our non-bullish thinking at this point, because the ladder I'm not excited about. But let's look at time and sales real quick. And keep in mind, the more you look at this, you'll be able to do it much faster. It's not going to take this long, when you're trying to identify what's going on. So you look at 27.63. So that just happened. Now all of this is happening really, really fast, right? So you take a look at these sales, and what you really want to pay attention to is the share amount on the side, right? We don't really care too much that 5 shares were sold and 30 shares were sold. We're looking for these bigger numbers. So we had some shares picked up at 63, 64. We had more picked up at 66. Then we had a bunch picked up here at 75, 75 here. So this is looking good on the time and sales, because what are they doing? They're consistently buying at higher prices, right? So they're feeling pretty confident at this point. and we don't see a lot of sales. Your sales are all the red ones. There's not a ton of shares being sold versus how many are being bought. So at this point, you definitely want to keep an eye on it, right? Even though the ladder doesn't look so hot, time in sales looks pretty darn good, right? So this is one of those times of what I mean, why you want to take a look at both in as a couple. Don't just look at just one. So I'm gonna put play again, and let's watch this play out a little bit, see what happens. I don't even remember what happens. I just basically started where I knew that it had started going up. Okay, and just like the ladder was kind of showing, the price did start selling off here, right? Let's continue and watch. And what we're looking for here is we're looking for a nice change here. We want to see a lot more buyers come in at one of these areas to figure out, okay, is this area right around where we're trading, or does it fall way back down and now we don't have buyers until 27.60, right? Because that happens all the time. Or now we don't have any buyers until 26. Right now we've got our buy support at 26.25. Well, man, that's way down here, right? So still the ladder's not looking so hot, right? All right, let's keep playing. See how it plays out here. I'm gonna pause it as soon as I see any kind of change. Let me zoom back out here, or zoom back in. Okay. Now what did we just do there? We just gapped up, right? You see? So this candle closed at 28 bucks, and we gapped up to 28.36. Let's see why that happened. I'm not sure why my time and sales is. Sometimes the on demand can be a little funny. Oh, I bet this was a $35.99. Let me look. It was. Okay, so see that I was looking for 28.36 is what I was looking for. I was trying to show you guys why this thing gapped up here. So basically what happened was, why did we gap up? So we were trading at 28 bucks. So somebody was bullish, thinking this thing's getting ready to rip, and they put a 300 order in at 28.35.99, which is, it's going to show up here as 28.30. So that's why it jumped up here, because it's basically going to show the price of the last transaction, right, which was 28.36. Does that mean it's going to hold this 28.36? No, it does not. And how do we know it's not going to hold that? Well, we look at the ladder. Are there any other buys at 28.36? There are not. So where's your next buy? Your next buy is at 28.10, right? So what are we thinking at this point? That it's going to probably go back down to 28.10. This level right here, right? Right in this area. So that's what I'm looking for it to do, okay? So let's play on and see how it plays out here. And that's what happened basically. So it came back down here, and somebody bought at 28.10. Somebody sold 28.10 there, 28.10 here. So yeah, somebody sold six shares there, and 100 shares there. So you had somebody buying those at 28.10, which is why it went back down there. Okay, let's push on a little bit. I'm looking for something big on this ladder to happen. So let's see if something happens, because I know that this price shoots up throughout the day. So something on the ladder is going to give us. Okay, there it is, right there. All right, did you see that? So we were down here. We had nothing down here, but we had 100 shares looking to be bought at 28 bucks, right? And we had 100 shares looking to be bought at 28.14. And boom, look what happened here. Now we have 5,000 shares looking to be bought at 28.36. That's what we're looking for, right? So whenever we're watching this stock, so we started watching it, I guess, here or here when this volume came in, when it alerted us on our scanner, we started watching it, right? Hey, check out NEGG, it's getting some volume. So guys, give me 1 second here. I'm going to stop this recording and start another one. I'm trying to keep them under 30 minutes.